Blog Talk Radio.
One and all of you, my fabulous, magical people. Welcome to the first episode of Magical Universe with Sharonah for the brand new year of 2020. Woohoo! Yay! And I am your host, Sharonah Rapseik, and I am coming to you live from the Big Apple, New York City. And I am so very happy that you are joining me here today. This show is about creating magic and miracles in all areas of your life by using angel guidance and the divine, conscious, loving energy of the magic universe. This show is brought to you by the Psychic Talk Radio Network. That's the radio network with Spirit and Psychic You. Please visit www.psychictalk.net to learn more about our past and upcoming radio shows, our hosts, and as well as all the wonderful online courses that are offered at Psychic You. This show is also brought to you by the IAAP. That's the International Association of Angel Practitioners, and that's the very first worldwide organization that was formed to educate, celebrate, and support spiritual practitioners and entrepreneurs around the world. Please visit www.angelpractitioners.com to learn even more. And finally, today's episode is also being sponsored by the ARE of New York City, a nonprofit organization formed by a core group of service-oriented volunteers, all inspired by the work of America's psychic Edgar Cayce. To learn more, go to www.edgarcaycenyc.org. Remember, that's Edgar Cayce with a Cayce spelled C-A-Y-C-E, followed by N-Y-C. Magic Universe with Sharonah is a live call-in radio show, and it's here that we talk about such topics as angels, crystals, energy healing, tarot and oracle cards, the cycles of the moon, holistic healing, the laws of attraction, and good vibrations, and much, much more. Magic Universe is on the air live, always on the second and fourth Sunday of each month. You can listen to our show here on www.psychictalk.net live on your internet browser, or you can listen in on your phone too, simply by calling in. Which reminds me to let you know this is a live call-in radio show. And if you would like a mini reading, an angel message, or to ask a question, or to add your comments to today's topic, or even just say hello, the number to call is 714-816-4628. Once again, that's 714-816-4628 to listen. But remember, if you want us to answer your call so that you were live on the air, you must press the number 1 on the keypad on your telephone. And this will flag us at the switchboard. So we want to let you know that we do take calls in the order that they are received. So don't hang up, because you will lose your spot in the queue. And also, you can go to www.thetarotguild.com/chat, and that's where we have our chat room now. Okay, now that you've got that information, it is time for us to start. Today's topic is Secrets of Tarot and Numerology. And today you're also going to meet one of my magical friends, Dr. Dax Carlisle. He is a tarot master, a master numerologist, and a hypnotist. And he has been a radio personality for over 10 years. He is also our executive producer for the Psychic Talk Radio Network. So I want you to give out a cheer, and I want to welcome Dax Carlisle here today live on the air. Hey, Dax.
Yay, it's me. I'm here.
Oh, it sounds like you're there with a big crowd. Awesome.
They were just
so great
excited
to have you here. Yeah. Awesome. So how you doing? And what do you want to manifest now that that's good. Well, that's good. And what would you like to manifest in 2020?
Oh, gosh. Well, I know I got to apologize about my voice because I think I have a little cold brewing or something like that with the throat. And so hopefully I sound okay. I don't know how you can how you're hearing me on your end over there, Sharonah.
Well, you sound good. You sound very kind of sexy. So I think the call is working for you.
I like, when you have the cold and you get the bedroom voice from that,
Yeah.
Oh. This is such an exciting year. Yesterday I was on the radio with Mary Brown, and we were talking about the world year of 4 because 2020 reduces to 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. And it's a year of structure, and we were talking about all that and personal year numbers because I'm in a personal year number of 8, and that's abundance. And so, what were you talking about?
Manifesting.
When you asked about manifesting, I was like, well, that it's not a particular thing. It's just this. I want to get in alignment with the energy of my personal year and manifest abundance. So
cool.
To answer your question, that's what I want to manifest this year. What do you want to manifest?
Well, I'm going to tell you something funny. I'm also my personal year this year is also an 8, but my life number is an 11. So I believe you're also You're like a 22 or 33. I forget what
33.
Your master. Wow.
Master number 33. Yeah. Master healer, master teacher number.
Awesome. And we're both, for this year, we're both 8s. So let's do some co-creating along with the universe together.
That's right. So you're a master number 11 life path, master illuminator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
Well, I think a lot of our hosts actually have, the double-digit master number too. Like I know you have a double number. We're going to be talking more about numbers. Got some background noise. Sounds like that we have the winds of change blowing in the background. So I think, that's not uncommon, though, for people who do this kind of work before they reduce their number to a single digit number, to have 2 numbers, like an 11 or 22 or 33. So have you found that to be true?
Can you say that again? I was trying to see, I'm near the Air Force Base, and we had, and then the jets flew over just at that minute, and I missed the first part of that. Do I find who has master number? I didn't get the who part. What are you talking about?
I think we have other people that are other hosts on the radio network that are also double numbers. I don't think it's very common. I think among people who are psychic.
It can be. It's still extremely rare, in general, that you have a master number life path. Now, master numbers, however, can appear in other places in your chart because you have a chart of 9 numbers. And, sometimes I find that that people I know that are very spiritual or are spiritual practitioners or tarot readers or our radio hosts and stuff, they'll have a double-digit master number, somewhere in their chart. It might be their attitude number or their destiny number. But life path, attitude, destiny, those are the big 3 places that if it shows up, it has a real significance. Less so if it appears in the other 6 numbers in the chart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about numbers, and I know that you are a master numerologist. So maybe for those who are listening in that don't understand what that's all about, maybe you might want to explain that, because we're going to be talking about the secrets of tarot and numerology. And I'm assuming that most of the people who are listening in, they know about tarot. It's reading with a tool that's tarot cards, but maybe not as many people are familiar with numerology. So can you enlighten us a little bit more about what a numerologist does?
Oh, sure. And God, numbers just fascinate me. It's so much fun, and it started, way back in school and in college, just working with quadratic equations and, geometry always really, really fascinated me, and that led to me looking at anything I could find on numbers and geometry, which led me eventually to sacred geometry and numerology. So numerology is studying the numbers and the energies. Pythagoras said that each number, and this is 2,500 years ago, each number had a particular energy to it. And, even nowadays, because most people, when they think of numbers, they think of counting and, sums and using it for mathematics. But there's this separate branch, which originally wasn't separate. Originally mathematicians were numerologists. None of these things were separated back in the day. They were all part of science. They were all part of the whole. They saw it as a whole. Just like astronomers were astrologists. There's a good example of it. And but that in addition to counting, because Pythagoras, who we call the father of numerology, actually numerology is, dates way, way before Pythagoras, but he's known for making it, famous in the Western world, bringing it over, so to speak, and he probably learned it from the Persians, we think, learned it from the Magi, actually. And most people only know that term from the Bible story, the 3 Magi or the 3 kings that came to visit Jesus at his birth. And but actually, the Magi were the mathematicians and astronomers and astrologists and alchemists and Zoroastrian priests and from Persia. And there's all the stuff in the news about Iran nowadays, and that's the area of the world we're talking about here. And Pythagoras was captive in that part of the world, and we think that he learned a lot of, he's known for the Pythagorean theorem and all this mathematics, but he also is the father of numerology, and he said that the numbers have an energy unto themselves, and that everything is made of energy, and everything is made of numbers, therefore. And it's really interesting, too, Sharonah, because if you talk to modern-day mathematicians and scientists and quantum theorists and so forth, and ask them about numbers, today a modern scientist will even say that. They'll say, the universe is made of numbers. And so we're able to look at numbers and derive information from that. And just like an astrologer will look at what was the positions of the heavenly bodies above the point on Earth where you were born on the day of your, moment of your birth, and they'll form what's called a natal chart and be able to figure out the influences of the energies with the heavenly bodies. Just like that, with an astrologer, a numerologist can create a chart similar to the natal chart, and it's a chart of 9 numbers that are based on the date you were born and your original name, so the name that appears on your birth certificate. And then one of the numbers is derived actually from the name that you most go by now, today. Because if you're born, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head here, but Jonathan James Johnston, right? But you're going to be known as John Johnson. You're not going to be known as Jonathan James Johnston. So we have these shortened names, and then people change their name. People get married, and that's your power name number. But then the rest of the numbers come from your name at birth. We never get away from that, Sharonah. And so you're able to form this chart, and arguably the most important number in the chart is the life path number, and that's very similar to in astrology, the sun sign. Even though
yes,
an astrologer will tell you that you can't, judge a person on their sun sign, that there's a whole lot of other things going on in the natal chart. That's just one aspect. That's why all Geminis don't act the same, and all Libras don't act the same. You have to look at the full chart. Well, it's the same thing with numerology. So, you're a life path 11/2. I'm a life path 33/6. But you have to look at the other 8 numbers in the chart. So that's what a numerologist generally does. And people go to numerologists for a lot of different things, because not only can we produce this chart, and from it we can derive your tendencies, your strengths, your weaknesses. You can get a sense of, are you on the right path with certain things? And, not only that, just like when an astrologer would draw up a natal chart and tell you your influences, we can also look at somebody else's chart and compare it to yours and do a compatibility analysis. And then a lot of people go to I've been talking so much about astrologers. People also go to numerologists when they're birthing something. So if they're going to birth a new business, or they're going to literally, birth a new baby, they'll often consult a numerologist to figure out the best name for that business or their new pet or their child, depending on the qualities that they want to manifest in that. They also go to numerologists to pick dates because you can pick more auspicious dates, for the starting of a business, for getting married, and things like that. So that's mostly what numerology is and what numerologists do.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I mean, numbers are they're really powerful things. Like music is also based on numbers, and you really can't escape
Exactly.
numbers. It's a way. It's almost a universal language. I mean, we all speak many different languages, many different tongues, but we all basically work with the same number system. So it's a very powerful way of communicating and understanding. I mean, I think numbers, they create and they bring things into reality. It's a way of classifying things, but it's also a way of drawing things into the material realm where they become firm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know we're going to be talking.
Scientists have always said.
Yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to expand on what you were saying there, and scientists have always said that if we were ever able to actually get in contact, for instance, with an extraterrestrial alien species, let's say, that was sentient, that the way that we would initially communicate would be through numbers because it's so universal.
Yep, I agree. As far as one of the things that is really unique is that, I mean, like how often we use numbers in terms of information, but also as a tool to organize things and get meanings. So it's only natural that with any tarot deck or any even a deck of playing cards. I kind of got into divination when I was a kid with a regular deck of playing cards. That's how I learned my numbers. And right away there's a story. I mean, there's a story around the numbers, which I know we're probably going to get into it more, the story that flows through the tarot deck that's based upon numbers. But it's a great way of organizing our mind that we understand things.
Absolutely.
And that's what
absolutely.
Yeah. So I know we're going to be talking about tarot and numerology. So I know this is something where you like me, you teach tarot based upon numbers. So I am so interested in hearing what you have to say about the numbers and the tarot cards.
Awesome. And I heard from Charlotte, one of our longtime listeners, and she was also a host on the network for a while too. And she was asking, "Is there a chat room for today's show?" And I said, "Yep. You go over to thetarotguild.com/chat." So I just thought I'd put that out there. If there's others that are, trying to find the chat room, it's thetarotguild.com/chat. Hop in there. I'm in there. Charlotte's in there. Anyway, thinking of the title of today's show, the secrets of tarot and numerology. I love when anybody goes, the secret of this or the secret of that.
Ooh.
And it's because humans have to know the answer, that, like if you do a top 10 list and you list the first three things, in your top 10 list, and then say, hey, get the other seven over here. People are just, magnetized. They have to go find out the rest of the answer, And so that's why I love anything that's titled The Secret of This or The Secret of That. And I guess, Sharonah, the very first secret of tarot and numerology is that, are you ready? Tarot
Ready.
is numerology.
Oh, without a doubt.
Most people don't know that, And this is the thing. Remember, I started to tell my own story, how I, was fascinated by numbers as a kid, and then studying mathematics, and then that led me to sacred geometry, which led me to numerology. And I came across tarot actually much, much later. I had been a numerologist for maybe, a decade or more before I really, maybe 15 years or, God, I can't remember now. But it was way before tarot. I had an interest in tarot when I was a kid. I saw it on TV shows. I read a book or two. I was interested, but I didn't really study it in depth. And see, that's the thing. When we're talking about the secrets of tarot and numerology, it's like, how far down the rabbit hole do you really want to go? Because it's really deep. It really is. But you don't have to go that far down if you don't want to. You can get a deck of cards, and you can learn the surface meanings and look at the images and start working with the cards and start doing readings for yourself and start doing readings for friends and family members. And in a very short amount of time, you're going to be able to do really decent tarot readings for people. It's not that complicated where you have to really go down the rabbit hole in order and know all this stuff in order to just be able to do a decent reading for somebody and just work with the cards and use them for meditation and magic and all the different ways you can use tarot cards. Tarot is a magical altar that you can carry in your pocket or purse anywhere, and you don't have to carry all your things and set everything up and everything. You could just lay out tarot cards instead, you see. But you can really go down the rabbit hole and
oh, without a doubt.
And part of the reason
Indeed.
for that is because of the nature of the beast. And when I came across tarot again and decided to really give it a study, and I'm looking at the deck, just physically, just looking at the structure of the deck, and I'm looking at checking out the cards and looking at the major arcana and the minor arcana, and I just said, oh, this is numerology. It's all based on It's all based on numerology. The structure of the deck is numerology, and then the other part of it that intersects the numerology is sacred geometry. It's sacred geometry, which numerology is a part of sacred geometry. So you could technically say tarot is sacred geometry, but through sacred geometry, which is for those that don't know, that's studying how the universe functions and how the universe is manifested and created and put together, the building blocks of it. Just like quantum physicists are taking apart everything down to the smallest subatomic particle to see how things fit together. Well, there's actually a geometry to it. And it's seen in life all over the entire planet. This science dates back tens of thousands of years because we see the flower of life pattern, the pattern out of which everything germinates. We see that across every culture in everywhere on the planet, and some of the carvings date back over 10,000 years. So it's been around for forever. And out of this flower of life pattern, uh, were able to create what's known as Metatron's cube. And if anybody that's been listening to our radio shows knows that Metatron's an archangel, and that's who
Exactly.
it's named after. And he's the scribe of God. Okay, so he writes everything down, and he knows everything. He has the history of everything, and very much like Thoth in Egyptian mythology. And so now Metatron's cube, okay, out of Metatron's cube, there are five, we call them platonic solids. Plato and Pythagoras talked about these geometric shapes. There's five universal shapes. You can't break it down any farther than the five. But everything going up can be a combination of these shapes. But the smallest you can get, just like you can get down to protons, electrons, and neutrons, you see what I mean? What I'm getting at, Sharonah? So
exactly.
you can break down matter down to its tiniest parts, and the smallest number of the geometric shapes you can get down to is these five platonic solids. And these five shapes line up with the five classic elements. So there's the fifth, or the quintessential element, spirit, and then fire and earth and air and water. And everything else is made out of these things. And it's really interesting because, we have the periodic table now, and we have all these elements. We don't just have the five anymore. In fact, we've dumped that whole thing and said that, well, that was what we thought of when we didn't know better back in the day, that there was these five elements. Guess what? A scientist in Toronto, in Canada, actually, figured out how these five geometric patterns line up and are present and form every single element in the periodic table. So they were right from the very beginning that it really is these elements that make up all the other elements, which make up all the matter in the universe. And
exactly.
These five elements are found in the tarot deck and intersect with the numbers in the tarot deck to form the deck itself. There's something else.
Exactly.
Remember I said I said the five platonic solid. Remember I said the five platonic solids are formed within Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube is drawn if you're doing it two-dimensionally, it's a three-dimensional object, but we draw it two-dimensionally. And if you're drawing it on the flower of life, in order to form Metatron's cube, it takes 78 lines to create Metatron's cube. How many cards are in the tarot deck?
There are 78.
78, yes. That is not an accident. That is not a coincidence, folks. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
So now you're seeing how the rabbit hole is deep. You can really start going down there, and really getting into the secrets of tarot and numerology. The other way we know that it's that the tarot deck is numerology, is sacred geometry, is we don't have any writings or any evidence. We don't even have the original first tarot deck. We have some decks that survive, the oldest surviving ones like the Visconti Cervosa and some other decks in some museums that go way, way back, to early 1400s. But, we don't know when the first tarot deck was. So here's more secrets that about it is that it's still secret, the whole thing, because there's no writings, nothing survives, Sharonah. We don't have any evidence. The only thing we can do there's no records of the first tarot deck being created, why it was created, how it was created, who created it. There's nothing. But guess what? We can look at the deck itself. We can look at the structure. And when we look,
I love that's what I love. Yeah, I love.
And when you look at
that, because it's like that theory is for me. It's all when I think the deck that most people use is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. But if you look at, all you have to do is look at the card that's marked number 1 in the major arcana, which we know is the Magician. And there you see in the card the 4 elements and how all the ace cards go back to the Magician card.
Right.
And
another
it's
thing,
all right there. It's like, hitting in the face.
Real quick. Yeah, real quick. I wanted to mention that actually all 5 elements are there because he's got
Spirit.
the symbols. He's got the symbols of the 4 elements from the minor arcana, the fire, earth, air, water that we all know. But he's reaching up, drawing down cosmic energy, drawing down the 5th element. Yes, and so even that is
spirit.
there, and that's and there you go. There's another secret of tarot that we just revealed. That all this stuff is actually in there.
Yeah.
Well, there's more. There's more. Let's look at this.
Yeah.
There's 78 cards in the deck, and Metatron's cube, 78 lines to make Metatron's cube. Well, let's look at the subdivisions. Let's look at the subdivisions. So you break down the deck into the minor and major arcana. That is what we call it. And the cards that most people think of that they've seen on TV, if they're not familiar with tarot, they've seen it on TV and in movies, like the Magician, like you just mentioned, is in the major arcana. There's 22 of them, which is the master builder number, Sharonah. Isn't that interesting? The minor arcana.
Well, there's 22 letters in Hebrew, and
that too, yeah.
In Hebrew, that they feel that's how God created reality.
Right, exactly. And there's more to it because the minor arcana, there's 56 cards. 5 plus 6 is 11, the master illuminator number. If you take the master illuminator, the minor arcana, 11, and you add it to the majors, 22, you get 33, the master teacher, master healer number.
Pretty amazing.
It's just amazing, and it just goes on and on and on like that. And so just by looking at the structure itself, what's on the cards, the numbers on the cards, you're able to and then just the number of cards there are in a traditional tarot deck is 78 cards. You start to see all these connections, and you start to get a hint about what's going on and how deep the rabbit hole really goes. But if anybody out there has any questions, we'd be happy to, maybe, people have, that burning question. They always wondered, this about numerology or that about tarot or what have you. You can call in and or go into the chat room also, thetarotguild.com/chat, and ask anything you want to know, and we'll go down, even deeper into the rabbit hole if we have to, Sharonah.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I always want to do kind of a quick thing on what tarot is. You have the major arcana cards, and you also have the minor ones, which feature a separate element. So to kind of understand them, I always tell people wands or fire, or what would be in a regular deck of playing cards is clubs. And that is really the realm of action and transformation. And that's also where you find, what's going on in the career and life purpose. So that's one of the elements. And then you have water, which would be the cups or the hearts. And that is the realm of emotion, intuition, but also its function is healing and spiritual purposes. And then you have air, which are the swords and the spades, and that's the realm of thoughts. But it's also, I like to call it the realm of learning. That's kind of like everyone when they go to the swords or they go to the spades, they go, there's a lot of, interesting changes going in there. So I always say, think of what it is. Air is the winds of change. And then finally you have earth, which are the pentacles or the diamonds. And that is, the physical realm. And that is where, people want to find out about wealth and abundance. But there is also a lesson there that you learn, and that's about, giving and sharing. So, the whole deck, whether you're playing with a tarot deck of 78 cards or you're using a regular poker deck, there is a lesson that's evolving. So it's almost like a Bible, a tool that you can read and use.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you want to learn more or hang out with people and ask questions, learn more about tarot numerology, I suggest come over and join the Tarot Guild. And you can go over to thetarotguild.com, to our main website, and it's free to join. You can join the website. It's kind of like Facebook for tarot because it's all tarot all the time, but it has a lot of the same features as Facebook. So you're going to be able to friend other members and do private messaging, live chat. There's groups, there's forums, all of that stuff there at thetarotguild.com. We'd love to have you. It's free to join, and you can go through the forum. You can ask questions. You can study tarot, study numerology, and we just built this brand new website. It's on the same platform, Ning, that we had our very first website we built it in 2009 and launched it in 2010. It was actually January 20th, 2010 that we officially launched the first Ning Tarot Guild website and our first radio show, Tarot Today Radio, and we're actually coming up on the 10th anniversary the 20th of this month. And on the 19th, next Sunday, I'm going to be on with Mary and hopefully you and whoever else wants to come onto the airways, because it's going to be a big on-air party where we're going to celebrate, 10 years of being on radio and officially launch the new website. But it is up and running now. Actually, we have almost 100 people on there, so you can go over to thetarotguild.com and join right now for free.
That's very awesome indeed. Shall we pick a card? You want to pick a card for today before we get to our calls? We usually do that. So I'll let you pick a card, Dax.
Okay, so I get the Hermit card. Oh, one of my favorite cards. I love doing
I love the Hermit.
I love doing guided visualizations into the card itself, actually. I have to do that on air someday. I'm thinking of doing a guided visualization with the Hermit card, take everybody into the Hermit card, and do that with other cards too, like the Magician and so forth. And I just love the Hermit because he's shining his light there, his lantern, and it's like, shining the light of wisdom and truth on the whole world, because he is on the top of a summit, actually, down onto everybody else. Sometimes it can come up when we're going to seek their counsel, the counsel of a wise person, or it could be talking about the opposite, where we are imparting our wisdom. And this is a year for teaching. We were talking about that on the radio show yesterday, how
yes.
2020 is a world year of 4, and I know you heard the show yesterday. And 4 is structure, and it's making plans, and it's also about learning, like taking courses and learning something new, and also about teaching what you love. And so the Hermit card is really good for that as well. It's a card of self-awareness, acceptance, a time of reflection. Sometimes it's talking about, the Hermit card comes up when you need to kind of take a step back and think outside the box a little bit, and try to distance yourself from an issue or a situation or a problem or a person, and distance yourself far enough where you're able to then look at it with fresh eyes, so to speak.
Oh, without a doubt. And I believe the Hermit card it is number 9. So, it's about getting ready
Yep.
for completion and,
Endings and completion.
getting ready before you take that next big step. Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely. Did you pull a card
indeed.
too, or?
It's so funny. I pulled the Emperor, and it's a 4, and that's the year that we're in, and we know that
Yeah.
the 4 card that's about order and using leadership to create a structure where there's a lot going on, and having the ability to kind of feng shui everything. I always call it that. You rest a little bit and then you go, what am I going to carry forward? How am I going to make some sense out of this? How am I going to see a structure? And once again, we go back to the word structure and order, and that's the tarot deck. It's funny, how the numbers and the pictures and what's in the cards.
Everything matches
It
up.
really helps you understand. Yeah, it helps you to really understand a lot. So I'm a great believer in telling people, you got to go out and get a tarot deck. Once you get it, you're definitely going to be hooked. It's not that hard to get started in the beginning, but then I'll say, because I teach tarot, that it's kind of like teaching someone a language like English, where you have words, and you can take this as far as you want to go, but not everyone can be a William Shakespeare. How you write it or you craft and put the words together. But this is it's a lifetime thing that you're exploring all due to numbers.
I got a couple of
time
things
is
real
flying
quick.
by. Yeah.
Yeah, before we go to the calls, I know we have to get to calls, but I have a couple of things that came up. When you mentioned teaching, my course on tarot and numerology, my tarot course is called Tarot by the Numbers, and now you know why it's called Tarot by the Numbers, because tarot is numerology, and I've been teaching it the same way since around the early 2000s, at least 2004, maybe earlier, where I break the deck up into the individual numbers on the cards. So I put all the ones together and the tens. The tens are ones because 1 plus 0 is 1. I put all the 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, and I teach them in blocks like that. And you learn the energy of the number, you learn the numerology of it, and you learn the elements at the same time that you're learning those cards. And so it makes so much more sense, and you're able to learn the deck so much faster and really understand tarot that much faster by doing it this way, you see. And then I have sections in there in the course where I teach you how to create the numerology chart that I was talking about for an individual, and create an entire report, which if you're a professional tarot reader, this is added value, where you're able to create a numerology report for somebody and sell them separately or give them away as part of your readings to give added value to the readings. And that's why my course is called, Tarot by the Numbers. And we were mentioning the other thing I had was we were mentioning the Hermit card being card number 9. 9 is also part of the 3 numbers 3, 6, and 9, which are the creativity and communication numbers. And if you think of creativity and manifesting, and if you think of what's going on with the Hermit card, and you can see you'll see the connections, to that, and so that's another thing that I wanted to just mention, that the 9 numbers actually do break down into 3 sets of 3, and that 3 is, So there's the 1, 5, 7, which is the mind numbers. There's the 2, 4, and 8, which are business numbers, and then the 3, 6, and 9, which are the artistic or creativity and communication numbers. Okay, so now there's another secret of numerology you just learned. How the structure of that.
This is so fascinating. We really need to do another show on this, because I am looking at my watch and it is telling me, I'm looking at Mickey Mouse, and his hands are telling me that we're way past the bottom of the hour. And before we take a few calls, let's talk about what's, just kind of review what's going to be coming up here on the Psychic Talk radio network. I know that tomorrow, if you're enjoying what we are doing now, there's going to be 2 shows on. There is the show with Janice Hughes, and there is also the wonderful show with Catherine Hahn. Those are both on Monday, and if you want to find out more, I always tell people go to www.psychictalk.net, and you'll see what the upcoming shows are. You want to bookmark that, but I don't want to forget. We have a surprise coming up.
Catherine.
So yes.
I was just gonna say, for those that are interested, Catherine's actually going to be talking about. She's an angelic channel, and she's going to be talking tomorrow about who are you. Who are you?
Ooh.
So that's going to be fascinating. Yeah. And, if we don't get to your call today, you can always call in tomorrow and talk to Catherine.
Exactly. But I think there's something really special coming up next weekend. So why don't you, I'm going to hand that to you and tell us about what's coming up next weekend. We have a really important show that's coming up.
Oh, yes. And we did briefly mention this earlier, but I'm going to be back on Friday, January 17th with my co-host, Dr. Rose Wilkerson, and we're going to be taking a look at the Tarot Guild 15 years later, because we just had our 15th anniversary, 15th birthday of the Tarot Guild. It was October 31st, actually, so it wasn't that recent, actually. It was a couple months ago, but that's still recent to me. But it was last decade, if you think about it. And we just and we've got this other anniversary coming up on the 20th. So I thought, hey, this will be a nice lead into that, to take a look at the Tarot Guild 15 years later. So we're doing that on Friday the 17th, and then on Sunday the 19th, we're doing a special show. It's a special on-air party. My co-host Mary Brown and I from from the Saturday show with me, but we're doing it on Sunday, so it's closer to the anniversary is actually Monday the 20th, and also because she's got some events happening on Saturday, so I said, hey, let's just do it Sunday the 19th, and we're going to be celebrating our first ever Tarot Guild website, and now that's 10 years later, and our first radio show, which was called it was called Tarot Today Radio, launched on January 20th, 2010. So we've been doing radio nonstop now for 10 years. So we're going to have a big celebration on Sunday. I hope you'll come on and hang out with us, maybe, if you're available, Sharonah. So that's what's coming up.
I am definitely going to make it. I'm going to definitely make it, and I think probably a lot of our listeners. It's actually in the same time slot that you're listening now. So definitely, I am available. I'm going to be there. I want to party. I love parties.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, shall we? We're not going to be able to take a lot of calls, but we can. I'm going to go onto the switchboard and see who is waiting the longest, and I'll bring them on. And maybe Dax, you could go into the chat room and see. We'll take someone if there's something in the chat room. We'll take care of that. But my goodness, we are partying.
Nothing so
and
far, but I'll look.
Okay, well then I'm gonna.
We're having way
go
too
to
much fun, is what it is, Sharonah.
Yeah, I know. Well, get me talking about tarot cards and numbers, and I just
me too.
I just kind of blab away. Okay, let's see. We have the caller that's been waiting the longest is caller the area code 478. Caller, so good to have you here. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi,
area
my name
code.
is Keisha.
Hi, Keisha.
Hi.
How you doing? And you're from
Arizona.
Arizona. You okay? I know you, Keisha. How you doing there?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, yes, you know me and I know you. I have a question.
Yep.
Okay, I just got contacted by a guy I haven't talked to in years, and his name is Bernie.
Ooh.
And I was wondering, why did he contact me? Because I actually blocked him, but why did he contact me?
Why did he contact you?
Yeah.
Sharonah, you were kind of over Keisha there. I couldn't catch the name. What's the gentleman's first name there?
Bernie.
Bernie. Okay, Bernie. Let's see here. I'm trying to shuffle, Sharonah. Let's see. So how did he contact you, and did he say anything?
No, he didn't say nothing, but he made his presence known now. But so I was like, you know what, I don't have time for these things, so I just blocked him out. He was playing the mind games and then try to sneak their way through the back. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh yeah, I don't like these cards. I mean, I'm getting the Tower card and the Moon card. So things are hidden. All the truth is not coming out. That kind of energy.
Yeah.
What about you, Sharonah? Are you getting anything?
Okay,
on
I'm getting something similar to that. You, Keisha, you've walked away from a major change, and you're crossing the bridge, and you're going to something that's more positive. I'm getting that you really need to refer to your intuition and ask your angels about it to make sure that this is the right thing that you want to jump back into, because you've been building something good.
No, it's not. No, I blocked him. I just was kind of just making sure with you guys.
Yeah, there's, from the cards I'm getting, you really are doing the right thing. This. That's what you're supposed to do. You need to block this guy,
No, he's blocked.
Yeah, I'm getting that too.
Blocked.
Okay. Yeah, because there's something good coming up for you. Yeah, there's something good coming up. So just hang in there.
I'll wait for that then. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to put you back in the chat room. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yay. Okay, we are going to take another caller, and the area code is 310. Caller, are you there? What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Susan, and I'm calling from Oklahoma.
Hey,
Hi,
Susan.
Hi.
Hi.
So
good to have you here.
Hi. Thank you. So I was just kind of wondering if you guys see me making any changes with work.
Changes with work.
So changes within work where you are now, or changing to like a completely different place to work, or
either way.
Okay. Just wanted to know how to narrow it down, or how open it was. Let's see. Well, it's weird. I mean, the opportunity's there, but I'm getting a lot of just no, not right now. No cards here. Okay. However, the Ace of Cups does show up, indicating a new beginning. So it's potential to happen, but the timing's not right, apparently.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that
Sharonah?
too. Yeah, I'm getting, the Queen of Pentacles. That's someone who, the situation that you're at, it's practical and it's serving you, and, it's okay for a while. I mean, there definitely is an energy out there that's kind of moving toward change, but what I'm getting is the big change will be like maybe a year from now, and that now is the time when you really want to believe in yourself and what you have to offer the world, and as far as your career and everything, but that, you're going to sit tight. You're going to kind of, maybe think about it, that moving onward, but sit tight for now. So it's like what Dax was saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Okay. I'm going to put you back in so you can listen in.
The
and
queue, yeah.
The next call that I'm going to take is area code 708. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from? A lot of noise background.
And I'm calling from Illinois.
I couldn't hear that. There's a lot of noise in the background.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah, my name is Barbara, and I'm calling from Illinois.
Oh,
hi,
much
Barbara.
Better
much
Barbara,
better.
Yay! Illinois. I haven't had a call from Illinois in a long time.
Okay.
Go ahead,
my birthday is February 20th of 56, so this is a good year for me, right?
Let me check here. Let me hold on. Slow down a little bit because it takes me a while to type this in. Okay, so February, and what was the day again?
20.
20. Okay, February 20. And yeah, so for the whole that's fascinating because it's 02/20/2020 would be the whole energy for you for this year. But I'm doing the whole calculation here to be absolutely sure. First of all, I'm going to get your life path number. So we're doing February 20th, 1950. What was it? 56.
Right.
All right. So you're a 7 life path. Natural detective, the highest spiritual number. You want to know how the universe works and how things actually work, and you have the big questions and you want the big answers on things, and you also have a 4 attitude, which is the same attitude as me, by the way. I'm a 4 attitude.
People.
Yeah, and it's. A lot of people that have a 4 life path or a 4 attitude are first responders or nurses, or they were in the military. I was in the military. Mary's a 4 life path. I'm a 4 attitude. And if you have 4 in the attitude or the life path or destiny number, often, Mary was in the Army, I was in the Air Force. It's a very, it's the number of structure, which is the year this year, is 4. And so it's really lining up with that, your attitude number of 4 there. See, it doesn't matter if your life path is different. If your life path is 4, then it's really your year. But it doesn't matter, when you're going to get to the 7 year, and it's going to line up. But when your attitude number or your destiny number is the same as the world year number, that's a pretty strong connection as well. And you get your personal year number by adding that attitude number 4 to the world year number 4. So it's 8, which is double structure. It's double 4, and 8 is the number of abundance in numerology. So yeah, you and I both are in an 8 year. And Sharonah, you're in an 8 year too, right?
I am, yes.
All three of us are in an 8 year, Susan. Wait, this is Barbara. Yeah, Barbara. And so, and now, before we go on, just real quickly, because we're talking about the secrets of tarot and numerology, and good teaching moment right here for the people listening in that have been following the show the whole time, is that I'm trying to explain this the right way. There's 2 sides to absolutely everything, okay? So when people want to say a certain number means a certain thing or a certain tarot card means a certain thing, that's not quite accurate. The tarot cards are they're a spectrum of meaning from one potential pole to the other along a certain energy. Okay, they have a certain energy, but there's a spectrum of meaning, and it's the same thing with the numbers. So yes, 8 is we're all, the 3 of us, in a personal year of 8, and 8 is abundance, but there's 2 sides to that coin, and you could be in a year of 8, and it can go south and be horrible, and especially if you don't know you're in an 8 year, you see, and most people don't, because most people don't study numerology. But we know that we're in an 8, and what we need to do right now that we're in the still within the beginning of the year here, is we need to set the intention for it to be the positive side of the 8, not the negative side, because there is a negative side to the 8. And so we have to set the intention for that abundance right now.
All right. I have a question. Because you said the 1, 5, and 7 is the mind numbers, okay, which relates back to my life path number, and you said the 2, 4, and 8 was business. So is it better to have a business with a number 8 or my life path number 7 to be successful and abundant?
Now, when you say have a business like that, are you talking about, a business name, or what are you looking at? What name. Aspect?
Right, a business name in spirituality, yeah.
Yeah, and, you can do that. You can get, and some people do that, where they look for a name that's going to get in alignment with their own personal destiny number or life path number or something like that. But the actual better way, the better route to go is not doing that connection necessarily, because you don't need to connect yourself to the business. In other words, the business is its own thing. So just like if you're naming a business, just like you would be naming a child or, a pet or something like that, is to look at it as the business is its own person, and what qualities do you want that business to have? Okay, so if you want it to be a very spiritual business, you might go for a 7. If you want it to be very abundant, you might go for an 8. If you want it to have really good structure, 4. If you want it to be an adventure, if you were going into a business that is does a lot of travel, and it's a very adventurous and jet setting, or you're on the ski slopes or whatever the thing is, this business, you might, with that, you might go with a 5, because 5 is that energy of change and energy of adventure, and it's a high energy number as well. So that's what you're doing is when you're naming something, you're looking at, what's the qualities what qualities do I want this business or person or whatever it is you're naming to have.
So I'm confused now. Are you saying that it would make it more successful, or it doesn't matter?
Yes. You see, this is the thing. It depends on what you are trying to focus on, okay? So what I'm saying is that what I mean is that not every business owner goes into business with that in mind. I want it to be super successful, and I want to make $100 million. Right. Some business owners want a very hearth and home, spiritual, helping people kind of energy kind of business. So they're going to have a name that breaks down to a 6 or a 9, okay? People that want the money, if you want successful business, okay, you can still go with 6 because that's the success number. But financial success, it's usually the 4 or the double 4, the 8 energy. I would go with 8. I would name it a name that reduces to an 8 if that's what you're going for. But that's why I brought this up. And I didn't mean to confuse you there. I'm trying to also, at the same time that we're answering your question, teach everybody that's listening that when you're naming something, you got to first start with what do you want out of it? And that leads you to what number you're going to use.
So if it's a spiritually based business, then I want it to be a 7, but maybe I want my phone number to be an 8.
Exactly. Or the address, the location, or the date that you open the business, because all of those things affect the energy. That's why when we're doing the 9-number chart for a human being, for a person, and by the way, you can do the same thing for the business, we're looking at the birth date and the birth certificate name. So with a business, we would say, okay, we opened our doors on January 15th, 2020, and the name of the business is, Joe Franklin's dry cleaner, whatever. And that would actually give us a whole 9-number chart from that, yeah. And so you would adjust the numbers, like you might want a life path number that was abundance, 8, which would be the full date added up and reduced to an 8, whereas then you have the destiny number. You want the destiny, you want that spiritual energy, so the whole name of the business would break down to a 7. So yeah, you can really play with this. Yeah, you can work on the, because there's an attitude number, the month and you're going to pick a particular month and day, and then the whole date with the year, you're going to a particular energy there, and then the day itself, the birthday number is one of the numbers. So the actual day, like you open your doors on the 15th, that would be a 6 energy, hearth and home, And then you've got the name, you've got the vowels, the soul number, you've got the consonants, the personality of the business, and then the whole name, the destiny of the business. And if you shorten it, that's a power name number. If you don't shorten it, it's okay. The whole, like Apple Computing Systems, but everybody just calls it Apple. And so that'd be the power name number. Otherwise, it's just the destiny and the power name number are the same. So, yeah, that's all the numbers right there, how you would figure that out for a business.
Wow. So I have to figure. Yeah. So So 2/20/2020 is 8.
Exactly. And see, this is why people go to numerologists, because it takes some figuring, and you got to sit down, and you got to sit down with the client. You got to look at a calendar. They probably have a bunch of potential names, and you're going to run all those names for the numbers, see what comes out, and you line it up and just get the best fit you can, and hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you clarified it, because to me it's really not all. I want to be successful, yes. However,
sure.
My purpose or my intention is to help and to give for energy work for animals. So it's more of a spiritually based than it really, worried about, crunching numbers. What is that? No, that's not where it's coming from.
Right.
So,
yep.
So that makes a big difference, because I really wanted to have a spiritual focus for sure.
And I look at everything. I look at my phone number for the business.
Well, that's another thing.
My address. Which, by the way, it's not part of the 9-number chart per se. But it does influence the energy. So I have people look at the address, the address number, like 152 Oak Street, 152. So that'd be 6. That'd be 8. There's an abundant address. Your telephone number.
Now, let me ask
what does that add up?
Would you include like a street, or would you omit that? You would just do the name of the street or avenue.
I always thought about that myself, and what we do, numerologists in general, we don't actually look at the street. We only look at the number of the address. We don't look at what street they're on. But that always bothered me. I always thought you should. But but that's not how it's taught in numerology school.
Yeah. Now, what about if it's like a suite, or do you like suite number 202? Does that go in there too, or no?
Yes, but separately. Okay, so what you're going to do is the number, and this is the way it is in the 9-number chart for a person. The 9 different numbers have kind of a hierarchy to them, with the life path being the most important, followed by the attitude number and the destiny number, and then all the other numbers after that. So even though you might have a conflicting number, it might not have that much of an impact. A suite number can affect the energy. However, it's not as important as the physical address number. So if you were 152 Oak Street, so that would be abundance. 152 adds up to 8, but it was suite, 200, so you would have a 2 energy. 2 plus 0 is 2. Okay, that 2 energy wouldn't be as important as the 8 energy, but it still is there. Now, you would not add it into, and some people do that by mistake. They have 152 Oak Street, Suite 200, and they add the 200 to the 152. No, you don't do that. You add them separately, get separate energies, and it'll only affect it, to the extent that you really focus on that. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about what suite you're in, but if you really want to line things up, okay, get a street address that's an 8, and then get a suite number that's like 800. So you got 8 again, or suite.
Okay. Well, yeah, you never. Hey,
suite
synchronicity.
440.
You don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know. It could happen. So I'd have to figure out the letters for Oak and figure out what numbers they are?
I wouldn't bother doing that, to be honest with you. No numerologist does that. They only take they only take the number part. They look at the 152, 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 is 8, 8's abundance. They don't look at the name of the street. If you want to, go ahead. I don't really think it affects the energy because that's I don't know why that's true. And there's a lot of stuff in numerology where I will be the first to tell you I don't know why. I don't know why this works, but it does. And I don't know why that's true, but it is.
Okay.
I fully admit it. Absolutely. I don't know why tarot works. I have a working theory on it, but I don't really know. But it works. You know,
would 9 be as abundant as an 8 for a business
Nine
address?
is 9 is the completion. It's coming full circle. Okay, it's the end of a cycle. The only time I would go with a 9 is if it's a very I'm trying to think of the word here because okay, so 9s are the old souls. They're like the philanthropists of the world. They care about all of humanity, okay? And so if the main focus of your business is giving back to people, is philanthropy, is something along those lines, 9 would be a good energy for that, as well as 6. 9 and 6. And remember, 3, 6, and 9 are from the same numbers group there, that creativity and communications.
Yeah, but I'm a 7, so I'm a 1, 5, and 7. So
yep,
I don't
and
fit
that's
in
the mind
3,
numbers.
6,
Yeah, that's the mind numbers. And remember, it doesn't matter what you are; it only matters what you want the business to be. And so you're looking at the numbers for how the business is going to be. It doesn't matter that you're a 7. 7 just means that and this is going to sound funny, Sharonah, but you're in one of those 1, 5, 7, the mind numbers, and guess what? They tend to overthink things.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'm getting. It's funny. The card that I drew for you is a 7 card, and it's a 7 of Cups, and it's all about eventually you need to focus on what you want. So you really have to sit down and meditate, and because you're constantly putting things out there, and focus on what's important. And that's also 7, I believe it's a chariot, which is also about focusing, where you want to take whatever it is that you want to achieve with your business. You want to take the straightest, most precise path that's going to take you there. Don't get pulled in all different directions.
Yeah, I do a lot of analyzing. I'm very analytical for sure.
Yeah, you're a thinker. Yep. You don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Even when you like.
It could be a good thing though too.
I look at is what's possible, what could possibly go wrong, because you gotta have your game. You gotta be on top of your game. If you're dealing with people and you want to have a business, you have to have a response. You can't say, well, gee, I don't know, I'll think about it and call you back in a half hour. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that's so true. But speaking of focus, Dax, I am looking at the clock, and it's
we
so
are
great
way
to talk
over.
with you, Barbara. Yeah, so Barbara, I hope that helps. You can certainly think on this. I love the word "think" on it, and call back. But we've got to wrap things up. So I do want to say there's other shows that you'll be able to call into, Barbara, even tomorrow, and certainly next weekend. And also to let everyone know that Magic Universe with Sharonah will be back again on Sunday, January the 26th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, when my topic will be on how to receive downloads from the universal consciousness, which I like to call the magic universe. And guess what? Numbers are one of these ways. But as the clock is ticking, I want to let you know this is Sharonah. I want to thank you all for joining us. I especially want to thank Dax Carlisle for joining me today. Yeah, and I always end up the show by saying, and remember, focus on the positive in your life so you attract even more of this, because we do live in a magical universe. So I just want to wish you good energy and let everyone know that I love you. And Dax, there's something you want to add in before the sand runs out in the hourglass? What would you like to add?
Oh, just real quickly, I missed it, but Charlotte had put a question in the chat room regarding her numbers and, the world year and what's her personal year number. So I'm going to, Charlotte, I just wanted to let you know I'm going to do that in a private message on Facebook. I'll get that information to you because we're out of time here on the show. But I did want to mention real quickly that we're going to do a whole show on this on Friday the 7th of February. So in a few weeks, where it's going to be personal year numbers all show long. So you can call in, you can get your personal year number. We can tell you what that means, and you can also get a mini reading too if you want. So that's Friday, February 7th. And don't forget to tune in. I'll be back. If we didn't get to your call, I'll be happy to take your call on the 17th on Friday. But don't forget that big party live on air on Sunday the 19th.
Woo-hoo.
I can't wait for that. 10 years of radio, Sharonah.
I can't wait. Oh, my God. That's going to be so much fun.
Awesome.
Indeed. So I guess it's time for us to sign off. And until we meet
everybody.
again here, bye, everyone. Love you and loads of good energy. I love you all. Bye-bye.